Like many current integrated amplifiers, the Denon PMA-900HNE combines a preamp and amp with a built-in phono stage, high-res DAC, and streaming audio capability. In addition, it does so for less than $1,000. That's certainly an appealing price, but does its sound quality warrant your attention? Let's find out.
Just a brief interruption, esteemed viewers. If you enjoy our videos, you might also like our other work for audiophiles and music lovers: written equipment reviews, editor's choice ratings, product news, and music reviews. Get the latest each week with a free subscription to our email newsletters. A link is in the description.
I'm Aaron Jenkins, and here on the Absolute Sounds YouTube channel, I review entry-level high-end products, as well as those that might appeal to enthusiasts who, like me, listen to music in real-world, often shared spaces. At $949, the 900HNE certainly fits into that first category. It's one of 4 hi-fi integrated amps Denon offers, with the twice or more as expensive 3000NE and 1700NE above it, and the roughly half as costly 600NE below it. Denon rates the 900HNE's advanced high current amplifier at 50 watts per channel into 8 ohms, 85 watts into 4 ohms. While all of the PMA integrateds feature built-in DACs, only the 900HNE offers music streaming via HEOS, which is Denon's home entertainment operating system. HEOS plays AirPlay 2 and Bluetooth, but not the aptX codec, as well as several streaming services, including Tidal, Amazon Music, Apple Music, and Spotify, but not Qobuz. HEOS is controlled through an app on your phone or tablet, and while it's a little clunky to set up and use, I didn't think it was nearly as bad as the online haters claim. Streamed music, and anything that comes in through the 3 optical or 1 digital coaxial inputs, the USB-A input, or the Ethernet input, is of course sent to that internal DAC, which can read high-res files up to 24-bit 192 kHz resolution. On the analog side, the Denon features 3 pairs of analog RCA inputs, 1 pair of outputs, a single subwoofer pre-out, a 1/4-inch headphone jack, and an MMMC phono input, and you can select your cartridge type via a button on the Denon's front panel. In addition, the 900HNE offers 2 sets of speaker outputs, oddly enough only one of which works with the subwoofer output, multi-room control via HEOS, and Bluetooth rebroadcast, which allows you to send the amp's output to Bluetooth headphones or speakers. The only thing I felt was reasonably missing was an HDMI input, and Denon apparently thought so too, which is presumably why one of the optical digital inputs is labeled TV, which is how I connected my smart TV to the system. I listen almost exclusively to streaming music, so did most of my listening with Tidal. And the first thing I noticed was the Denon's impressive sonic clarity and detail, from the crystalline presentation of the Struck Bell in Jimi Hendrix's Little Wing to the richness and texture of Christian Lee's violin in his version of Swan Lake. The Denon's noise floor is very low. Voices and instruments spring from sonic nothingness, and the ringing of bells, cymbals, and strings lingers and decays believably. The separation between instruments and musical lines is excellent. It's easy to differentiate between the different sections of an orchestra, for example, or to follow bass lines and rhythm guitars behind the main instruments. The Denon's overall tone is neutral, with maybe a slight hint of warmth. Chet Baker's trumpet in Alone Together sounds appropriately brassy, as does Pepper Adams' baritone saxophone in the same song. And when things get more lively, such as with Johnny Hodges' main stem, the Denon has plenty of energy to drive the music forward. The 900HNE's treble is clear and nicely balanced with its mid-range. Voices, both male and female, sound full and clear, and yes, I realize I keep saying clear, with a decent amount of tone color, as do those brass instruments. There's also plenty of low-level detail, from fingers moving on frets to lips parting or breaths taken before the first sung word. Bass performance is strong. I had no complaints with the amp's 50-watt rating with the Golden Ear BRXs I used for most of my listening, but low-frequency notes were sometimes exaggerated, and things could become a bit wild and woolly down low if there was an abundance of low-frequency information. However, as I later discovered, this is a function of the Denon's DAC, not its amplifier. And while that DAC is impressively open and revealing, it also leans a bit toward the analytical side of the spectrum, in that it emphasizes the parts at the expense of the musical whole. For example, in Adrian Lenker's Real House, the opening piano and onstage rustling are much more pronounced than I've heard before. This doesn't feel like a background scene-setting prelude to her singing. Instead, it and her are presented as equally weighted elements, something I've never heard before, and more important, something I didn't hear when I bypassed the Denon's digital internal circuitry. When I fed the Denon an analog signal from my reference NAD-C389 integrated amp stack, or plugged a turntable into the Denon's built-in phono preamp, I got a noticeably warmer tone, as well as better controlled and more accurate bass and a smoother, more relaxed presentation. And if these differences were relatively small, their overall impact was larger. I much preferred this all-analog sound, which was more organic, more musically coherent, and most important, more musically engaging. And I'm not sure whether to describe this sonic disparity as a feature, as in you get two different amps in one, or as a bug, but if you're thinking of buying the Denon and plan to use it for both digital and analog, you'll definitely want to listen to both. It's also worth mentioning that the 900HNE is the least expensive integrated amplifier I've reviewed by a significant margin. The NAD-C389 costs twice as much, and as such, it really plays in a different league, with more color saturation, more sparkle in the treble, more liveliness, and better bass control and impact. The NAD isn't anywhere near twice as good as the Denon, whatever that might mean, but it's definitely a step up in terms of sound quality, as you'd expect for the price. Overall, I think the Denon PMA-900HNE offers great all-around sound for the money, particularly in terms of analog performance. It also offers a generous complement of inputs and outputs, as well as the built-in DAC, phono stage, and HEO streaming. It's not perfect, but it delivers excellent performance in a number of areas. And if you're in the market for a feature-packed $1,000 integrated amp, I think the Denon is well worth a listen.